Hey everyone, it's Coach Rick. So I wanted to introduce you to my new friend, Paul Sharp, who owns SBG Illinois. And Paul, could you tell the folks that are watching what your role is here?
Yeah, so I'm the head coach. I kind of facilitate and organize all the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and stand-up training, as well as self-defense courses and other things that we offer to the public. So we're currently just beginning Wimp to Warrior, which is an international program where we give people the opportunity to go from basically the couch to a cage. So they can start out with a pretty sedentary lifestyle, and we will take them all the way up to the point over a course of 20 weeks where they could actually get in a cage and take a match if they wanted to.
Very nice.
Yeah, kind of those bucket list things, right?
Right,
so,
that sounds
intense.
Cool.
Yeah, it
kind of
can
cool.
be.
Yeah, but I think that's what folks need for inspiration to make changes.
Absolutely.
So in my, so being a doctor, I unfortunately think that a lot of the stuff that doctors do is disempowering. So we either tell you have a diagnosis and you're stuck with that diagnosis for life, you can't do this, can't do that, or you have to be on a medication. And usually that's where the ball drops. But in what you have done, I'm sure you have some really good successes. Do you have any outstanding clients that you coached that really resonate with you?
Oh yeah, so we have a couple guys and gals who have lost in excess of 50 to 60, even up to 80 pounds of fat. So yeah, they basically changed their body composition. And those guys always inspire me because, you know, like you and I probably have never been in a place where we couldn't do what we want to do. And so when you have somebody come in and they face the trepidation of, I'm going to get on the mat and I'm going to roll around with other people, like, wait a second, I never was an athlete, I never wrestled. And understanding that maybe it's difficult for them to even do normal daily functions, such as walk upstairs and stuff. And to see those people come in and just bite down hard on that bullet and just decide they're going to do it. And if it's gonna be, it's up to me, right? Kind of like the Dr. Seuss thing. So
yeah.
You know, and they just get on the mat, and I see them begin barely able to get through our warm-ups, and then over a course of like a couple months, you see them go from just like soft to like woodpecker lips. You know, they're rock solid, they're hard, and you see them mentally begin to realize that if I can do this, I can do anything. Like if I can conquer this fear, if I can conquer my physical issues, I can do anything. And then they start applying this to the rest of their life. So I have a couple people. I have one guy who was facing some issues with work where they were like, hey, listen, if you don't lose this weight, you might not be able to do the job any longer. Right. And so he was motivated externally, right? But then it became an internal motivation because once he began to do it, began to see that he could make this change and it could be permanent. And it wasn't just something you read about or something somebody else does, but it's actually something I can do for myself. Once he made that change, it was on, you know? And so seeing him go from that place of panic and fear to now a place of, I just love doing this and I love the transformation I've made and I never want to go back, has been awesome. He's probably one of my favorite people to talk about. I talk about him to a lot of people, like, hey man, this guy, if he can do it, coming from that perspective, like, you've seen the same thing, you know, where people come in, they're like, you've probably had to tell people, like, hey, look, you're going to die if you don't make some changes. Yeah. And same thing with him, like, you're going to lose your career, you're going to lose everything that you have. You know, what else are you going to do? This is what you went to school to learn how to do. You don't know how to do anything else, you know, fix it. And so going from that place of, oh my God, my world's collapsing, to a place of, I can do anything.
Wow.
Just by putting my mind to it and working hard, and I can make it happen. So I love those stories, man. That's the juice, right?
That, no question. I remember, I can think of many different patients, clients that have really inspired me. It's so awesome to see someone go from couch to warrior.
Yeah.
And to know that that's not an easy journey and that we were part of that is so rewarding. That's why I want to do what I want to do personally.
Right. Yeah.
But what is your routine with regards to staying fit for, I don't know if you want me to tell folks how old you are, does it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So how old are you, Paul?
I'm 52.
52 years old.
Yeah, I'll be 51 in a couple months. Or 50, I'm sorry, 53.
Hey, we're
going backwards. That'd be awesome.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
That is I know it's funny,
yeah.
But the one thing that we find in Western medicine is that the diseases that 50-year-olds come in with, 60-year-olds come in with, that we typically rescue with either surgery or medicine, a lot of the language is that's just aging.
Right.
And I totally disagree with that. I don't
Yeah.
think that aging is supposed to end up with being stuck on a wheelchair, on medicines,
No.
or disabled.
No way.
And you've seen folks where you give them the right focus or the right keys, and then they take off. Usually, weight loss is a common side effect
Right.
because it's a common side effect of bad health is weight gain.
Yeah.
So when we give them the keys as far as being coaches, and they take it and they massage it, they work it into their lifestyle, you see youth come back.
Yeah.
And then all those crappy things of bad pain, shortness of breath, depression in some
Yeah.
cases.
Okay.
And sometimes even with that, if you are threatened that you're going to lose your job, and if you're depressed, then you will not be, you'll be
Yeah.
demotivated.
It becomes that cascade, right? That
Right.
negative spiral. And so we have to somehow or another turn that. And one of the easiest ways is just getting them to do simple things and realize, like, wait, this is under my control. This is actually, no, it's not aging. That's just an excuse.
Right.
You know, it's like, I actually can turn this around.
Right,
So,
right. So going back to your story, being 52,
Yeah.
first off, what do you do to keep yourself healthy?
So, for the biggest thing I've done is becoming a vegetarian. So I stopped eating red meat. I stopped eating all these things. That was like a huge step forward for me. So I don't like the label vegan just because of the connotations,
Yeah.
good and bad, right?
Yeah.
And so I just try to, and I'm always trying to win people over,
Yeah.
you know, to this thing. So I just tell them, like, listen, I eat a plant-based diet as much as possible, plant-based. I try to get everything from plants, and I want it to be nutrient dense and water rich, so as much as I can. And so I'm always looking at that. So that was probably the biggest thing I did for myself. That was 2015. And then also my daily routine is I try to every day run a 5K. So I try to get like a 3 to 5 mile run every day, at least once a day. Sometimes more, you know, because you know how it goes, like stress and work and things like that. It's like, man, I need to go run and just moving meditation, you know, just
Yeah.
clear my head.
Yeah.
And then I try to do something moving my body through space. So whether it's body weight workout, it could be something simple. It could be, I'm going to do 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 air squats. And just I'm going to do that over and over again as many times as possible in 20 minutes or whatever time I have. Or it could be an actual, I'm going to deadlift and then overhead press. And so I'm going to, every day though, I'm going to do something where I move my body through space against resistance and build some of that strength work in. And then my mobility work I get from doing jiu-jitsu. So we call it, you know, we laugh and we call it non-consensual yoga because you're getting pushed and
Non-consensual yoga.
yeah, you're getting bent and
Right.
it's like, oh man, I know my knee could go there, but it just did.
Yeah.
So, but that kind of stuff, and I think that's what keeps me, and I've done that for pretty much all my life. So I've been doing that for as long as I can remember.
Honestly, so since I'm starting with Endorphin Effect, I'm learning the coaches and developing relationships. I didn't know that you were vegetarian.
Yeah.
So you'll see some highlights if you watch mixed martial arts. Occasionally there'll be a highlight, kind of like a clickbait thing. A mixed martial artist is a vegan.
Yeah.
And it's very inspiring to see that. There was a recent a documentary. It's about plant-based athletes. I forgot the name.
Game Changer.
Yeah, Game
Yeah.
Changers. And it might have been a little biased, but it was still inspiring.
Yeah.
So I know you don't like the word vegan, but I'm a vegan.
Yeah, yeah.
So I changed over to plant-based when my patient Bob actually suffered a heart attack in my office.
Oh wow.
I said, you know what? I'll do it with you. I was vegetarian to begin with
Sure.
anyway. I said, let's go, because unfortunately, the only data that's out there as far as dietary changes to reverse heart disease, vegetarian, low-fat, Dean Ornish's stuff,
Yeah.
which is kind of a tough sell to tell anybody that, but if the data's there and you can avoid bypass, I'd say...
Numbers don't lie, right?
Right, exactly. It's just a tough sell, which is always going to be the case. Even getting somebody on the mat, it's going to be a tough sell. I will tell you, I've practiced Aikido for a long time, so I'm used to the mats, but it must be tough to convince somebody. So I bet you some of the people that are watching us going to say, I can't get on the mat.
Oh, absolutely can.
So
Absolutely
exactly.
can.
So how is there? how do you get somebody that goes from street that doesn't exercise to buy into or invest in going with you as far as a coach and a lifestyle change?
Lifestyle, yeah. So usually it's fear-based, right? In the beginning, it's fear-based. Like everybody has experienced a situation where they maybe wish they could have defended themselves or maybe felt a little more comfortable in that situation. Like, hey, this guy got out of his car yelling at me and banging on my car, and I just was frozen because for the first time in my life, I realized like I couldn't fight this person if I had to, or defend myself if I had to. Those kind of things will happen. And so we kind of basically go to the pain. So we talk about that, like, hey, I have an answer for you. Like, we can help you overcome that through the process of training. And in the beginning, it will be fear-based. And over time, it becomes love-based, right? Because you love the results you see. You love the changes you see in yourself. And you love mentally how the gears shift. Because you start feeling better. And once you realize, I just had a 250-pound guy try to hold me down, but he couldn't. It's a big boost.
And you're talking about you?
No, just in general.
Oh, okay,
Just in general. Because
okay.
there's going to be all sizes and body types and everything that they're going to work with in a class. And over time, they start to realize, there's really nobody in here that can hurt me without my permission. And nobody's like viciously trying to hurt anybody. We use the word tribe all the time because how did tribes work? They had to develop their warriors from within. They couldn't go recruit somebody, So they had to develop their warriors from within. So they had to use training methods that were kind of hard and vigorous, but at the same time didn't damage you so much that if you had to walk across the stream to fetch game and got attacked or something happened, you were just unable to do anything because of the damage from training. So there has to be some science behind it. There has to be some methodology. But we want to push you, test you, but leave you stronger, not broken, so that you can defend yourself if you had to and go about your daily life. It should make you stronger, right? And so over the process of time, once I get them in here and I get them to kind of see that, look, you're not going to get hurt. Nobody's going to beat you up. That's my job. My job is to make sure this is a safe, and my coaches, our job is to make sure this is a safe training environment for you. Because if you're coming to me from trauma, if you're coming to me from fear, the last thing I want to do is, do more to you, right? I need to open you to the possibilities of living fearlessly. And so I need to get you in here. I need to get you to feel what it's like to move around with other people and to have that trust that nobody here is going to hurt me. Everybody here wants me to be better. Because again, like the sport analogy of if I want to be better at basketball, I need people that are good at basketball to play against me over and over again so we can push each other, right? That rising tides lifts all boats thing from JFK, right? So we have to all push each other, work together, strive together to become better. And so eventually, and this is a satisfying aspect of coaching, is eventually seeing people, and I'm seeing it now because after the COVID shutdown and all that, we have a bunch of new people coming in. And so I'm seeing them shift from their initial thought process when they came in here was, I just want to know that I can defend myself. Right. There's so much unrest in the world right now. There's so much, just chaos in the world, and I'm tired of walking around in fear. I want to know I can fight.
A lot of that.
Yeah, and so I'm like, all right, that's cool, man, that's cool. But because I know they're going to start there, but that's not their ending point. Because I know now they're starting to have fun. Because now, I just had someone say to me yesterday, I didn't know my body could do this. Because we're having them do inversions, which is basically a roll across your shoulder blades over the mat with somebody over top of them, and they're controlling that person, this other person, and then they're doing what we call sweep, which is where they take them off their feet and set them on their back. So you went from being the attackee to the attacker, and you know what I mean? And so these people are going, oh, this is so cool, I didn't know I could do this. And I'm thinking, yeah, because 2 weeks ago when you came in here, you just wanted to know that you could fight the world if you had to, which is fine. Yeah. But now you're seeing the other side of this, which is self-development, doing things you didn't think you could ever do, right? And having fun with it. And realizing, I can control another person that's trying to fight me to whatever degree and not injure them or injure them if I need to. So it's kind of a cool, all levels life lesson. Yeah. And so that's why I love it.
No question that when you give somebody the tools to defend, I've always thought that if you walk around with the knowledge that you might not be able to defend against every attack, but it gives you some self-confidence to walk proudly.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you can see the dynamic change in somebody who's walking
Right.
proudly versus somebody who's like embarrassed or
Yeah.
ashamed.
Yeah, they're walking around with their shell up.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
And that's the typical, that this, it's not really a defensive posture, but this results in back pain, depression. You don't get to see the horizon.
Yeah.
I always encourage my hikers that when you hike, you watch your steps, which is technically a sympathetic response, and you look at the horizon, reward, parasympathetic. Watch steps, look at horizon, watch steps. So you have nature therapy acting on the brain to
Yeah.
build it. But I think that one of the key things I'm taking from your description is not only do you have empower the confidence for somebody to defend themselves, but you also give them, I never knew I could do that.
That's important.
It's so important
It's really
nowadays,
important.
especially. So to maneuver through the stressors of life, whether it's going down a dark alley and defending, or just getting through the COVID thing with regards to good health. No
Yeah.
question, if you're healthier, you will do better with COVID. If you, hopefully you don't get infected, but if you do get infected, the data always says that. And what better way to come to a training center and learn what's not only cool, I mean, this is cool.
Yeah, yeah.
To roll on the mats, it's like you're in Hollywood, because you usually
Yeah.
only see combat or self-defense on screen.
Yeah.
Honestly, the practical applications when you're a kid and you go through the ranks of getting a couple belts with some form of
Right.
taekwondo or Japanese karate versus having to be forced into learning because of a bad event that occurred.
Sure.
And it's a shame because there's so much more beauty in the learning of martial arts. I mean, in Aikido, we at least will learn the movement, and that there's always going to be an uke and a nage, or a positive and negative.
Sure.
And you can't practice Aikido without the other person.
Right.
Which is an extension of that Asian tradition of yin and yang, positive, negative, but it's nice when you give them the keys to say, this is how we're going to do it, but I'm going to teach you in a cool way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
So what is we have a common, we got to this point with a common path. Would you mind telling the folks what you used to do and how you got to this point?
Yeah, so I was a police officer for 20 years, and I recently I retired 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and I decided that this is what I wanted to do. So the value of seeing people transformed was greater than any risk, that I was going to face. Like seeing people become who they always wanted to be, because you don't see little kids walking around on the playground and you say, hey, what are you going to be when you grow up? And they never give you the answers that they end up becoming, or whatever it might be. You have little kids who are fearless that think they can do anything because there haven't been enough layers put on them yet, where life has just beat them into this box. Or they haven't heard enough people tell them, like, you can't do that because you're fill in the blank, And so getting in here and like that, like we were talking about, having people have that self-discovery of, I can do this. Like, I was always picked last in gym class because I'm not athletic, but I am athletic. I just needed the right venue and the right kind of path, the right guide, And so having that experience with so many people and hearing that same thing over and over again finally just told me, like, this is what I need to be doing. Like, everything else is not going to ever fulfill me in the same way.
Wow.
This is what I have to do. So then it became my thing, and then I just did it. It keeps building. It builds upon itself to the point that I stay busy. And I hear the same stories all the time. It's this awesome positive feedback loop of the more I do this, the more I want to do it, because the more I hear these stories from people of, man, I can't believe how much different. And there's people that I don't even train with on a regular basis. I may have trained them one time at a seminar, who then took that experience, found a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or some sort of martial arts place near them, or even just a gym, and began a fitness journey. And then I see him a year later, and I actually had a guy recently come up to me who was taking a class I was teaching firearms, and he was taking a class in the bay next to mine, and he walked over. So we're on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like
Yes.
parallel areas of
Yeah.
training. And he walks over and he goes, "Hey man, it's been a year since I saw you," and I didn't recognize him. And I was like, "Cool." You know what I mean? Like trying to play it off and not be rude.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I lost over 100 pounds since I trained with you because I left that." And he goes, and you told me, "Hey, just start walking every day. Don't beat yourself up. Don't let great be the enemy of good. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough for now. And don't feel like you have to have the perfect program, the perfect running shoes, the perfect everything. Just walk out the door right now and whatever you have and walk for 15 minutes. And he said that transformed it because nobody ever said it to me. Nobody ever told me, "Hey, just start where you are with what you have and do what you can." It's just as simple as that. And so that's what I mean. Like when I see these people, that just
Inspiring.
yeah, it just keeps me wanting to keep doing this because, man, that's a person who's fundamentally transformed themselves after one class and just taking that little bit. Maybe it was the right word at the right time. Maybe they'd heard other things from other people and it just never clicked. But finally, the right word at the right time, and the universe decided I was the one that was able to give him that word at that time. That just was like what he needed to hear, and that's the juice.
What an
you know what I mean?
honor.
Yeah, that keeps me motivated. That keeps me going because I feel like, okay, maybe next time I won't be the one, but maybe I'll be part of the cumulative effect where over time, finally, somebody else somewhere down the road gets through.
Wow.
And they realize, like, hey, man, like, yeah, you know, I've been hearing this for so long. It's time to do something, you know?
You know that you're doing something right when all you have to do is just give permission to somebody one time. So just
Yeah.
curious, that one time, was it the seminar that took an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah, the seminar is about 5 hours.
5 hours,
So,
okay.
yeah, so somewhere
One
near,
meeting, though.
yeah, but one just conversation with him that, I mean, I don't even remember, right?
Wow.
But then well, think about that. Like, I'm sure there's people that you've had conversations with that they don't remember having a conversation with you, but it changed you. The same for me. Like, I've had people share things with me, and I thought, man, that's so phenomenal,
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Changed, altered my perspective, and they probably don't even have any idea
Yeah.
that we had a 2-minute conversation
Right.
that just caused my trajectory to go, you know?
That's what we need nowadays.
Yeah.
I think the average Joe and Jane out there needs a permission slip to say, to just try it.
Yeah.
Or think outside the box instead of being privy to one path and possibly that path going downhill, leading to the aging process and all those other diseases.
Yeah.
What do you see yourself doing at the age of 70, so 18 years from now?
18 years from now, my goal is to have enough coaches, a body of coaches under me, that they're doing all this stuff, that they have all these stories for themselves, that not that I'm irrelevant, but that I am not as necessary. So I want my folks to just have encyclopedias of stories, of folks that they've changed, of lives they've transformed, and I just want to help them get there. So as much as I want to transform students' lives, I want to help my coaches get to a place where they can transform those lives. And so I'm never going to stop training. I'll never stop, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to be at a place where if I choose to step away, it would almost be seamless. It would be as if, yeah, he was here. I don't know where he's at. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know, but things are still running.
Yeah,
you know?
your dynasty continues on.
Yeah, so you keep having, and that transformational process is just as efficient, or more efficient, and you know it should be, right? That's how it
Yep.
should work. Is that the guys coming behind me and gals coming behind me are better at it than I am,
Yeah.
because in everything that I do, I always want my folks to be better than me.
Wow.
Not be as good as me, not be me, be better than me,
Yeah.
and then that forces us all to evolve.
Right.
We don't have a choice.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be.
Right.
Going like the Blue Zones, living till 103, but being independent, walking, taking care of great-great-grandkids, preparing the meal for the entire family.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Unfortunately, we hardly have that here.
Yeah.
We have 70 and nursing home or dementia care center, and that's a shame, and I'm not blaming the system, but I think that we have to be empowered by coaches like Paul to do something different, invest. If you invest, I really feel, I mean, you've seen it come out on camera. I didn't know half of this about you. I just wanted to meet you and also share it.
Yeah.
But on camera, your energy and your choice of words abounds. So you know this coach has to be somebody that's invested in changing around your lifestyle. And what I like to see is, I call them boring, But when I see a patient that comes in and they've taken a couple cues of mine, and it's like, okay, let's check your, sounds good, losing the weight, moving properly, let's check your blood. No, normal, normal, normal. Okay, you're boring, I don't need to see you anymore, good life, I'll see you in 2 years, just to make sure.
Yeah.
But it's an honor to be, it's an honor for me to call somebody boring.
Sure.
Because that means they took everything I said, and it's a reward back to me. Because man, I must have done something different.
Yeah, you did it right.
Right.
Yeah.
And your analogy to you teaching your coaches, if I can get my one guy or gal to then teach their kids, and it goes generational at a time,
Yeah.
we've impacted not only one life, you've impacted a whole family.
Yeah.
For
sure.
For decades.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I always tell my people that train with me, and when I teach the seminars and stuff, I always tell people, or ask first, I'll say, how many here are instructors? And hardly anybody will raise their hands. Or sometimes it'll be like 10, or so. And then I tell them, listen, everybody here is an instructor because you're the go-to person in your world. Everybody knows you're the martial arts person, or you're the whatever it might be person in your world. So how many times do they come up to you and ask for your advice? Or they say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about working out. What do you think about this? So the impact that we have is only we only see the superficial. We don't see those conversations at Christmas dinners or high school reunions where people come up and go, hey, what did you do? You've lost all this weight, or you're healthier, you're not taking insulin any longer, or whatever it is, And we don't see those conversations, but they happen.
Yep.
And so that's why I feel like this is such a satisfying path to be on, because it's just spreading. It just impacts so many lives outside of us and outside of what we see, and that's so important. To really just keep that in mind, and for our students to keep that in mind, our patients or clients to keep in mind. Listen, you're a walking, talking ambassador for this lifestyle.
Wow.
You have to keep that in mind. People are watching you, even when you think they're not. They're paying attention.
Wow.
And they're listening.
That is spectacular. I gotta tell you, it's been an honor to interview you. Is there a way, in case people that don't belong to Endorphin Effect are interested in testing you out or trying you out, is there a way for them to reach you?
Sure. So you can reach me through Facebook. It's just my name, Paul Sharp, on Facebook. And also SPG Illinois on Facebook. Paul Sharp SPG on Instagram. And then if you want to email me, it's paul.sharp.mma@gmail.com. And that's the best ways to reach me.
And I'll put it down on the comments section so you can reach out to Coach Paul. Coach, it's been an honor.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I didn't know half of this stuff, but I'm going to have to pick your brain.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll probably work together, hopefully, with some clients and trying
That'd
to
be great.
change them and get them to that instructor level.
Yeah, get them on that path.
All right. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.